Barbados wants us back. They'll tell you that at every diaspora conference, every regathering campaign, every UN speech about migration and demographic decline. The government stood up at the United Nations this year and said it outright. Migration isn't just an option anymore, it is survival. You hear what I tell you? They are actively courting us. The UK, Canada, US, all the diaspora all across the world, skills transfers, investment, return migration initiatives. That's the language that they are using. But here's what nobody puts in one place. What does coming home actually require? And I ain't talking about the vibes or the vacation brochure neither. Obviously not that. But the paperwork, the timeline, the rules that disqualify you before you even know that you brought them. This is what this video is all about. Everything verified and everything in one place so that you are not piecing everything together from 20 different government pages and expat forums. And before you assume that the only door in is the one that we are about to walk through, hold our thought. There's another one. Every Bajan citizen already has it, no application required. We can get into that one, but first, let me cover the path most people actually take, because for a lot of winner, it's still the smarter move. Welcome so much to All a Winner. I am Zana Monique, the creator of Bajan's Punny Net, and this is Let We Call It We Base Story. Let's start with the actual mechanism. It is called the Barbados Network Program, and some of you might still know it by its old name, the Returning National Program. It sits under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Consular Division, and it has been the government's formal resettlement pathway since the 1990s. Here is what qualifies you. All of it, right? Not some of it. Good. You've got to be 18 or older, and this has to be your first time applying because you don't get a second one. You need to be a Bajan citizen, whether it is by birth, registration, descent, or naturalization. Now, here is the part that's tripped people up, so listen carefully. You need to have resided internationally for a minimum of 10 years straight before you return. 10 years continuously, immediately preceding your return. But and this here matters for someone, that requirement there so gets waived if you qualify for citizenship by descent and you've already formally submitted that application. So I am a citizen by descent, but I've lived in Barbados for over 40 years, even though I am in the diaspora at the moment in the UK, the place that I have been born in. But someone like myself now, that would be waived because I am citizen by descent. You have to genuinely intend to reside permanently. This in the program for just testing out the waters there, so right? And this one here, so that I'm about to say, is the rule that will catch people out without them even realizing them. You must not have resided in Barbados for 6 months, that is 183 days in a single calendar year across the 10 years before you return, right? You hear what I tell you. So if you've been going home for long stretches, like a 3 months here and a 4 months here, maybe caring for parents, you know how it is as we get older, or maybe you're just homesick and you want to go in the beach and things like that, and you just need to go home. You actually need to count up all of them days in a single calendar year. Cross that 183-day line in any 1 year, and it can disqualify you immediately from the program entirely. So you got to track them properly, ideally with a spreadsheet and not from memory. Make a note of every single time you travel and how long and all that sort of thing. One more thing. If you were ever deported because of a criminal conviction, you are not admissible to this program. That is stated plainly in their guidelines. So, what does qualify and actually get you? Duty-free concessions on your personal effects, your household goods, and your belongings when you resettle. 1 vehicle per household when you're importing a manting. Free of import duty, either shipped in from overseas or bought locally through an approved dealer, and it has to be paid for using the funds from your own overseas account, right? Right. The vehicle also has rules. It needs to be under 4 years old or have an odometer reader under 50,000 kilometers. That is actually 31,250 miles, unless you can actually prove that you owned it for at least 4 years already. And once you have that duty-free vehicle, you are not free and clear yet, my friends. You've got to hold on to that for the next 5 years. And every single year, you are required to bring in your insurance renewal, your road tax certificate, and your ID in person to the ministry. Right? Okay, this isn't a sign a form and forget it situation. This is a 5-year commitment tied to that particular vehicle. Now, the documents. Start gathering these about 4 to 6 months before you plan to move, not 4 to 6 weeks, months, because it can take time. You need your proof of citizenship, a valid Barbados passport, or your birth certificate plus ID card, or a certificate of citizenship with photo ID. Foreign passports that just happen to list Barbados as your birthplace, no, that is not accepted. They actually want the real document. You need proof of your overseas residence, and you've got quite a few options there. A signed job letter from your employer, or 10 years of income tax returns, or 10 years of social security benefit records, or if none of that is straightforward for you, a signed affidavit from a justice of the peace, an attorney, or a notary public. You will also need a Barbados Tax Identification Number, or a TIN, from the Barbados Revenue Authority. You get that through their TAMIS portal online or by phone. People forget this one constantly, and then they're stuck waiting on it right when everything else is ready to go. If you're shipping a vehicle, you'll need your proof of payment, full vehicle specifications, and your bill of lading for the shipment. And once you land and get approved, you are still not done, my dear. You get 3 months to settle every single transaction tied to your resettlement. And if you can't make that window, you have to formally request an extension from the Comptroller of Customs. Don't just assume that it's automatic. So here's the part that catches UK Bajans specifically off guard. You know the NHS, right? Free at the point of use and funded through general taxation, no card to swipe. Barbados is not like that. It runs on a 2-tier system: the public health care through the National Insurance Scheme, the NIS, and a separate private sector for people who want faster and more personalized care. You register at your nearest polyclinic first, and if you need a specialist, you get referred up to the QEH, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. And one more thing worth knowing: if you or a family member ever need highly specialized treatment that isn't available locally, the public system will refer you abroad, usually to the US, Canada, or the UK. But the public system does not fund for that travel. That is on you, my friend. Private international coverage with medical evacuation built in is worth considering, especially in those first years. Now, banking. Don't wait until you land to think about this. Most banks want proof of your legal address, a utility bill, or bank statement, nothing older than 3 months. And proof of income, a job letter, a recent pay slip. Standard ID is your national ID, your passport, or driver's license. Non-residents can open and hold foreign currency accounts funded from abroad and can repatriate those funds without restrictions. So you can start building a banking relationship in Barbados before your citizenship or your national program paperwork is even finalized. But be aware, minimum opening deposits can vary widely by bank, from roughly 10,000 US dollars up to 250,000, depending on the institution and account type. Shop around before you commit. And then there is housing. If you're renting before you buy, which most returning nationals do, standard leases run about a year. Security deposits typically run 1 to 3 months' rent, held separately and returned to you at lease end minus any legitimate deductions. If you use a real estate agent, commission for long-term rentals is usually 1 month's rent. Confirm upfront whether that's coming out of your pocket or the landlord's, and check that whoever you are working with is licensed under the Real Estate Agents Act. Look up BEAVA membership, the Barbados Estates Agents and Valuers Association. It's not mandatory, but it is a real signal of professionalism. Now, let me tell you where the ground might be shifting a little bit. And I want to be very straight with you because this channel only puts verified information in front of you. Want to know this? Barbados's Minister of Home Affairs stood at the UN this year and said that migration has to be treated like a development strategy, not a last resort. A strategy, with small island states dealing with labor shortages, an aging population, and climate pressure. He talked specifically about strengthening ties with the diaspora in the UK and Canada and the US through investment, skills transfer, and his words, returning migration initiatives. Separately, government officials have floated something even bigger, a roots-based return policy that would prioritize people with Bajan roots, specifically people whose parents or grandparents are Barbadian, and actively invite them back. This is not a formal program just yet, all right? There has been talk about it, but not yet quite formalized, okay? There's no published criteria, nor application yet. There is a policy direction that has been discussed, not something sitting ready for you to just apply just so today. I am telling you that it exists because you deserve to know which way the wind is actually blowing, if you just have a thought or whatever. What this tells us, though, is that the door isn't just open. Barbados is actively trying to widen it. Want to remember that door that I talked about at the start where every Bajan citizen, already got it and no application is required? Here it is. Seriously now, let me deal with the question that everyone is actually asking, but no one ain't really want to say out loud. And that is this. Can I just move back home without doing all of the Barbados network thing? Yes, I am telling you right now, yes, you can. So take a breath. Let me get into this one. If you are a Bajan citizen, you do not need permission to go home. You do not need a visa. You do not need some special stamp. You do not need anybody's approval. You can actually land, stay, work, buy property, start your own business. All the things. You can land, you can stay, you can work, buy property, start your own business. That is not some benefit that somebody is granting you. That is your birthright. So then, what does the national program actually give you if it isn't permission? Money. That's it. That is the whole point of the program. That program exists to waive custom duties on your personal effects and give you one duty-free vehicle when you resettle. Skip it. And here's what changes. Your barrels and your suitcases get treated like regular cargo when they land. Standard duties applies. And if you are planning to ship a car, you're going to pay full import duty for that one too. That there so is a trade-off. Nothing more, nothing less. And here's the part that I think don't get said enough. For someone skipping it might be the right call. If you're not shipping the container, if you're not bringing a vehicle, if you are traveling home with what fits in your standard airline luggage, this program is not for you. You do not need it. And what you will save isn't just the money, it is the 10 years of UK tax records. It is the High Commission appointments. And one less thing standing between you and just booking your flight and going home. Listen. Coming home was never meant to feel as if you require some sort of permission slip. Know through this video and your own research and the fact sheet what this program actually does. See if it applies to you. Then you decide what your next move actually needs to be. Going home isn't just complicated because Barbados makes it hard, It's complicated because nobody actually puts the whole picture in one place. Until now. So my people, save this, share this with someone who can need them if they're thinking about this sort of thing. And if you specifically are serious about the move, start with the ministry's own guidelines and don't take the shortcuts from this one. You hear what I say? You gotta remember, respect and revive. That is the whole model about here. So in the next video, I can talk more about people that want to move back to Barbados but don't already have ties. I can do some investigation into that and see what I come up with. But until then, know that you finished the video, you're going to check out this video right here. So